lost 2 engines. We're going down.
Emergency! Grab your parachutes. Regroup at ground facility building B. Get ready. Now go! Yes, sir!
Hi, I'm Joe Fielder. I'm the site director of GameSpot. I'm here today to talk to you about Extermination for the PlayStation 2. Extermination is a game that a lot of people got kind of excited about a year and a half ago when it was first announced at the PlayStation Festival in Japan. People kind of got excited about it because the developer, Deep Space, is comprised of some of the people who worked on the original Resident Evil. And I think a lot of people got it in their head that we might be seeing the start of a new survival horror series like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Dino Crisis, something like that. In light of that, Extermination's a little bit disappointing. It's pretty straightforward survival horror fare. It's got a few nice touches, but it is pretty much a straightforward survival horror game. The story sees you as Dennis Riley. You're a Marine in a unit that's been sent down to the South Pole to investigate some mysterious happenings at a secret military base. The mysterious happenings, not too surprisingly, revolve around a viral outbreak that's turned all the base's inhabitants into horribly disfigured monsters. The monsters also are contagious. If you get bitten by one, then you are going to have to hunt down an antidote to that, to your infection before you get to turn into a horribly disfigured, kill-crazy mutant yourself with extra fangs, wings, tentacles, and bioorganic weapons sprouting out of your back. Extermination's gameplay is a lot like Resident Evil, but there are a few key differences. The control is a little more similar to Onimusha or Silent Hill, meaning that if you want to move your character in a certain direction, you can just aim them in that direction and they move, as opposed to most Resident Evil games where you've got to swivel them around like a tank in combat before they'll take off in that direction. The backgrounds are also fully 3D, like in Silent Hill or Resident Evil Code Veronica, the break from the norm for the Resident Evil series. And you view the world from a floating 3D camera as opposed to static shots of rendered backgrounds. The combat is the place where Extermination diverges the most from the Resident Evil formula. You can shift your view into a first-person perspective to better aim at your enemies. There's a scope, actually, later on in the game that you pick up that will allow you to sniper from far away. And this is a pretty big part of the game because all of your enemies have a boil. Sometimes it's on their chest, sometimes it's on their head. But if you shoot that boil, it does them a lot more damage than normal. If you're fighting a boss, for instance, and you're shooting them just in the arm or the head or wherever, and you're missing that spot, it's going to take you forever to get rid of them. But aiming in on that special spot is going to dispatch them a lot faster. You can also modify your machine gun to take on a few different targeting sites, like a laser target, like the scope, like I mentioned before. There's also a night vision scope for you to put on there. There's also secondary weapons that can be attached to your machine gun, like a flamethrower, like a shotgun, and a grenade launcher. Instead of Resident Evil's typewriter ribbons, you have a battery that you use to power the machine to save your progress. You also use that battery to power other devices in the game, and that can be recharged at certain key areas. There are also key areas where you can recharge or restock your weapon ammo. You can also cure yourself at special beds that are throughout the game. There are a few sections of the game where these areas are very few and far between, which can be pretty frustrating because you'll either do a lot of backtracking in order to go to the places that you've known, or you'll push on ahead hoping that continually that one is right around the next corner. Sometimes that can work out well, and sometimes if you get caught by enemies, you'll have to go all the way back. This is a similar sort of criticism to similar games out there. But in Extermination, there are a few points where it can be pretty rough. Extermination's graphics aren't really exceptional, but they get the job done, and there's occasionally some nice little graphical flourishes. The interior of the game, the military installation is it's basically we've seen it before in a lot of other games, but the outdoors look pretty neat. There's a snowstorm effect that's very nice. There's also some water effects in the game that play in throughout that are pretty impressive. The human characters are maybe a little wooden in design and animation, but the monsters, the farther you get into the game, the more interesting the monsters really look. The music in Extermination sounds like a tense political thriller. It's very gripping, very appropriate. You could say the same about the sound effects, from the turn of a doorknob to a squish as you walk through this massive bioorganic jelly. It's pretty nice. The main drawback to the sound is the voice work, which is better than in a lot of similar games, but it still has a lot of awkward moments. Extermination has some rough spots. It starts off pretty slowly, so slowly that you never really feel like it's going to pick up at all. There are also some long, frustrating stretches around the center of the game. The first boss, well, let's just say he survives a lot longer than he really needs to. There are some nice moments in the game. There's definitely some positive aspects to it, but it never really comes together in the sort of way that produces a memorable experience like other games in its field. People who are diehard fans of survival horror games are probably going to feel like they've been here before, that they played a game with a military installation, a maverick hero, a viral outbreak, a lot of monsters, and a lot of backtracking. While other people are probably going to just enjoy it for what it is, which is a light snack between now and when Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil Code Veronica X come out for the PlayStation 2.